Yeah. So, and she only has liability insurance.
Oh.
That's all she could afford, and I couldn't afford to have full coverage on her. It was going to cost me an extra $500 a month
Oh, I
to
know all
put
about
full
that.
coverage on her. So I told her she had to get her own damn insurance, and the only thing she could afford was liability. I mean, at that age, that's all I could afford.
Yeah. All right, I gotta run to use the bathroom.
Yeah, the whole insurance game is quite the
Shit show.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
So hopefully we're able to scrap the vehicle. The guy at the shop's taking care of that for us. He'll let us know what he can do on Monday. But I'm helping facilitate shit. But like I said, it is on her. She bought the vehicle without consulting me, with her own money, and she's 21. So
Yeah,
I am helping where I can,
yeah,
but I can't afford to, replace her vehicle.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, cars and vehicles now are so freaking expensive, even used ones, and yeah, it's pretty nasty.
But so far, it cost $160 for the diagnostics for the guy to verify that the car's totaled, and it cost her $150 to have it towed to the shop from the middle of the street where she was, which that's not bad. I was expecting them to bend us over a barrel on that one. And then there was a tow company that they had us call that wanted $400 just to tow it away.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
the guy at the shop is looking to see if a scrapyard will buy it or if somebody will tow it for free for parts. If not, that's still, less than the 8,000 they want to fix it.
yeah.
And then I guess later today I have to go take apart my other daughter's Nissan Sentra, 1999 Nissan Sentra, and replace the alternator. Those are a pain in the ass on that vehicle, but not as bad as it is on the Mini Cooper. So
Fun times.
I'm here in spirit. I'm making coffee and then I'll get back to my computer.
yeah, we missed you last
Okay.
night.
Yeah, I was feeling like garbage. So just
Yeah, they
couldn't
were
do it.
talking that you look like garbage too.
Yeah, no, I've been feeling like crap. So
Yeah.
I'm sure I missed an incredible movie.
It wasn't the worst movie we watched, but I'm
That
not.
really isn't a vote of confidence.
It's true. I cannot call that movie good. I could not, and I had to, let everyone else. Everyone else agreed with me. I mean, we weren't going to give it a thumbs up just because it didn't suck as bad as the other movies. But
Which movie was this?
this was a Circuitry Man.
Not familiar
So
with
this group that you won't be with any of these movies.
Oh,
it.
you will
Okay.
be with the next one.
Why? What is it?
The next one is Megan 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Interesting. I like the first one.
I did too.
Yeah, Megan with a 4. Anyway, yeah. So it's Charles. It's basically a Friday night lug, and anyway, it's like almost like a joke. These movies they find, and anything that is even remotely technology related or adjacent, and then it's usually like the most B of B movies possible.
Well,
That,
let me explain a little
not
bit
always,
there,
but
because
Oh yeah, I've heard those guys talk about movie recommend on that podcast. Yeah. So anyway, yeah.
we're only supposed to pick movies that we haven't seen. And so if we've seen all the mainstream stuff, then we can't add them to the list. So a lot of B and C garbage gets added.
well, to be fair though, my only problem with that rule is I'm going back and watching movies I haven't seen in 20 years
Yeah, I
or
mean,
longer,
I
and I don't
did,
remember.
I did, sneak a couple of really good movies on there that other people hadn't seen, like Sneakers. And well, Hackers is on there, and I think we watched Hackers, but Sneakers is an awesome movie. For a tech movie, it's incredible. I don't know if you've ever watched it, Robert Redford.
Yeah. I've seen that one. Yep. I'm very familiar with that one. Yep. Yeah, he just passed away. Yep. Oh,
Yep. So
Yeah.
No,
This
there have
one.
been some gems because it doesn't necessarily mean just because it's a low budget that it's a terrible movie, but they do seem to revel in some pretty,
hot garbage,
yeah,
hot garbage.
pretty. Their tolerance for garbage is pretty high, I guess.
Yeah.
What movies are we talking about?
There have been movies that I have not been able to make it all the way through, not even on like 3X. They were that bad.
The Linux Lugcast. It's every other Friday, first and third Fridays of the month, and one of the segments is a movie, so something that's technology related, and it's supposed to be something we've never seen. So they end up being like, B, B level movies or worse, I would say. If there's a C movie, then yeah.
Worse.
But yeah, so we've seen some real terrible,
Really bad.
terrible is being kind, honestly.
Like horrible.
Which movie are we on about?
Oh, well, there have been several. Like there was this one movie called Gunhead. Do not recommend.
Okay.
Another movie called Soldiers. Also, do not recommend.
Yeah, I remember that one. Yep.
Oh, and then what was that one with the guy from Supernatural, where it was supposed to be a tech movie, but it ended up being like the devil and demons and crap like that?
Oh, I can't think of the title.
I don't know. The last
Yeah, it was,
really bad movie that I watched wasn't there like a Predator movie a couple of years ago where they tried to relaunch it?
Several.
Yeah, I'm trying to
Yeah.
remember. Must have been about 7-8 years ago, and I remember sitting there going, "This is crap. This is genuine crap."
Yeah.
And I've got very low standards when it comes to movies, man. I'll watch almost anything.
Oh, and what was it? Bikini Hackers? Oh my God, that was so horrible.
Yeah, that one was just gratuitous, which of course you just
Garbage.
assume it would be, but
No
yeah, the
nudity.
plot was like, yeah, yeah. How do you make nudity not interesting?
Mm. I think, oh, the movie was called Devour. The one that had Jensen Ackles, and yeah, it was supposed to be about a deadly game called The Pathway, which barely featured in it at all.
Hmm.
That
Okay.
movie was hot garbage. IMDb rating of 4.7
Out of 100.
out of 10.
Oh, okay. 4.7 is not okay. I would have thought it'd be lower than that then. But anyway. So how are
I
you,
don't know.
Joe? How are you, Charles?
I'm doing well. Yep. How about you? Still in
Oh.
halftime?
Yeah, still on halftime. Yeah. But it's
So right.
it's getting there. It's getting there. I'm getting, more. So I did 2 days this week. I'm going to do 3 days coming week. Just see how things go. I'm not pushing it. Everybody's also said the same thing. Don't push it. You don't want to fall apart or anything like that. So yeah. So that's yeah. So yeah, things are on and up. I was just mentioning on the other side that I finally got my jellyfin working.
I just got my jellyfin up and running last
Finally.
night.
Did you? All
Yeah.
right. My same here last night, but mine was yeah. So Bill had been giving me a hand, but he'd been telling me the kind of Ubuntu server way, and mine's running Open Media Vault, and it transpired later that there was some kind of thing happening between the Docker and the Open Media Vault. Anyway, I just
Okay.
thought
Well,
you go.
I'm running Proxmox, right, with Open Media Vault on it,
Okay.
and then on a separate machine, I'm running a VM that is connecting to the shares on the Open Media Vault, and in that VM, I'm running Jellyfin
Okay.
and accessing everything. So it's quite a convoluted setup, but it seems to work for now.
And this is running off your NAS, legit,
So
because
this
you're
is so,
having.
so so this well for me it's running off my server that I bought a couple of weeks ago, which is
Okay.
just which I've got basically got an X Enterprise tower off eBay for ridiculous money, as in like 40 something, £48. I already had a 4 terabyte and a 6 terabyte drive, so I put them in. And then I initially tried Ubuntu server. I just couldn't get my head around not having a GUI. I had cockpit. I think if I'd used cockpit a bit longer, that probably would have been the best thing to do. But in the end, I went for Open Media Vault, which, when you think, it's it's obviously a bit. It's based on Debian, but it's not exactly Debian. Although and you can get the Proxmox kernel and all that. In the end, I managed to get it. The issue I was having was just setting Jellyfin up. I've now managed to finally get it set up, and now I can
Were you
invite
having
using.
were you having problems passing through the drives to Jellyfin, or
So
what?
so basically, Jellyfin couldn't see the data. How whatever I did with the Docker Compose file and stuff like that made no difference. It just could not see it.
Ah,
And then
you weren't.
I found you're gone.
Were you not mounting them correctly?
No, they were mounted because if you wanted to Samba share into those drives, you could. So it was Leo was saying that it may well be that I was a separate user to the OMV, and so there was kind of clashing with that. And that's probably what, because it was interesting that it kept on saying that the image, the Docker was up, but it was always restarting. It was like every minute it was restarting. So I wonder whether that was something to do with it. Anyway, I did what I should have done properly, which is, actually research the Open Media Vault documentation and stuff like that. And I followed those instructions, and it finally worked. So now the next thing I'm thinking of going for is, because Bill was talking about it, is image. This photo storage thing. But there's even less, well, not say even less. There was actually quite a lot of documentation for Jellyfin. There's not a huge amount for image and Open Media Vault documentation. There is for image itself. And so some of the guides have said things like, just use the Portainer guide or stuff like this, which I don't know if I'm...
Are you running Open Media Vault like bare bones, or are you?
Yeah.
Okay. Because, like I said, I have mine set up on Proxmox.
I mean, the one thing that did occur to me, although when I said it out loud, it sounded really stupid, but in my head, it didn't sound like a bad idea. Should I export my ZFS pools and then just get rid of Open Media Vault and put Ubuntu server like I initially had at the beginning? But it's like, why? But then why would I start all over again from the beginning for no reason? The Proxmox kernel. So you can install the Proxmox kernel on Open Media Vault, but it caused a kernel panic for me. I have no idea why. So I ended up rolling back to a more standard Debian kernel.
Yeah. Well, like I said, right now, I have Open Media Vault in a VM on my Proxmox, which has 5 drives passed to it, but it's only sharing 4 of those drives. Because one of those drives is actually used for Proxmox images. And then on my other machine that has an i7 instead of an i5, I have another 2 VMs set up, one with Home Assistant, one with just plain Mint. And on the Mint VM, I have Jellyfin installed bare bones. And I'm using FSTab to mount the Samba shares from Open Media Vault. And so Jellyfin's able to see those. And that is working locally. I don't know about remote.
Yeah, I have no really intention of making any of this stuff remote, to be honest. I'm just happy just within the house is fine.
I created a user for Moss.
Okay.
Otherwise, I wouldn't expose a port for this. I would just VPN back in and do it all as if I was local. But I exposed a port for Moss so that he can access my Jellyfin because he seems to like that better than Plex. And with Plex doing all their crazy crap lately, it might be better anyway. So,
have you thought about Tailscale? I've heard a lot of people say that that's a way of being able to remote insecurely.
Yes, I have thought about Tailscale. I like WireGuard because WireGuard lets me do essentially the same thing. It wouldn't pass the Moss factor. And
the Moss, okay.
If I were to give Moss WireGuard access or Tailscale access, that would essentially give him access to everything on my network. And I like Moss. I trust him. I'm not going to give anybody. I'm not going to give anybody full access to my network.
Yeah.
Because I'm a paranoid fucker.
So why have you got this kind of convoluted kind of setup for Jellyfin? Is it just a legacy thing that you had things set up and?
It's because I had Proxmox set up, and I started this all learning Proxmox, right, and all the VMs and everything, and then Proxmox makes it somewhat difficult to run Open Media Vault and have shares because you got to think about it. If I'm sharing all the information from Open Media Vault to all my other VMs and LXCs on the same machine, then if they're all starting up at the same time, those Samba shares aren't available at boot.
Okay.
So I have to do some really convoluted crap to make those Samba shares available. For the rest of my like R stack, what I have to do is make sure that Open Media Vault starts first, waits like 45 seconds before it does anything else, and then mounts the drives, because I have to wait for all of the network stuff to be up as well, and then
Okay.
allow it to boot everything else that accesses those Samba shares.
Okay.
And the reason that the VM that I'm using is on the second machine that's hooked up to the same mini rack is because I was low on resources on the first machine. And I'm not using very much on the second machine, just those two VMs. So it's a good use for it. I was working on PCI pass-through, which I can set up. But the problem is, if I set up the PCI pass-through for the GPU portion of the APU that's in it, is that it only outputs to a screen as opposed to like no VNC. So I lose a lot of the ability to interact with it directly from Proxmox.
My brain's starting to hurt now. Okay.
What are you running in Lexi?
What LXCs am I running?
Yeah.
Well, I have a Docker LXC, which is currently running a game emulator,
Oh.
and also my audio bookshelf, so it has to have stuff passed to it. And then it's actually running a couple other things. I can look that up in a minute. But those are the important ones, because I also had a couple of things that are shut down now, like Cura running on there, and Octoprint. And then I have an LXC of Nextcloud, which I think I'm going to actually get rid of and just run it in one of the VMs that I have. And then
I've got something to say about that Nextcloud. I am going to be moving us over to the actual supported method is the Nextcloud Docker all-in-one image, which is how I should have done it in the beginning. But for some reason I couldn't work it out in my brain, and I made it happen to build one for the family, and it is by far the best way to run Nextcloud is that all-in-one Docker image, because it...
Then maybe what I'll do is I will get rid of my turnkey Nextcloud LXC and add it to my Docker.
Yeah, because it is fantastic, and you can literally like the Nextcloud Office and the Open Office, they're interchangeable with just clicking a box with this method of doing it, and it keeps it up to date the Docker way instead of having to manage everything on bare metal, and it works out all of the TLS and all that. So I'm happy with it. I'm going to get it up and running for us in the coming weeks. I just don't have a time frame quite yet.
Yeah.
This is the first weekend I've had where I didn't have a lot going on.
Yeah. Oh, I got to remember on this one. Runty Pi. I have Runty Pi running. I have Jacket, Redar, OpenWRT, which is awesome. Prowlar, Deluge, and Sonar.
Oh, you're a Deluge man, huh?
Yeah.
God, I haven't used Deluge in probably 15 years.
But it's Deluge.
Torrent client.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Really fat torrent client.
Yeah. Looks good, though.
It does a lot. I started using Qubit torrent, and that does everything I need it to do.
I have very, very modest. I only download Linux ISOs,
Right,
so I
me
use
too.
Fragments. I know.
Fragments is good,
exactly.
actually. I
That's
like
all I
Fragments.
download.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like
I
Fragments.
like it.
Deluge is great for downloading Linux ISOs. I got Linux ISOs all over the place. You can access all of my Linux ISOs on my Jellyfin.
Yes, because that's
Anybody.
what Jellyfin was designed for.
Okay, so here's the thing:
Same
can
here.
you have multiple servers for Jellyfin?
Yeah, I don't see why not.
Yeah, you can't log in at the same time on them. Are you saying
Okay.
multiple in the client? No,
Yeah, so in
you
the
have to go
client-
to a different. It's a different URL. So no, there's no user switching in the client.
Okay.
Well,
You have to like switch servers, and
you got to
it's
sign
actually technically
all
like
the way back out and then
yeah, it's
choose
kind
a
of a
different.
pain in the ass, but
Okay. Fine.
it's not that bad.
What I didn't know
It's not-
is because he asked this question before. What I didn't know is if you signed into one server and then like backed out and signed into another, if it would keep track of the servers that you sign in, and then it would keep track of the usernames and passwords. I didn't know if it would do all that or not in the
I
client
wonder.
because
I
I've
wonder
only
when
ever signed into my own.
Hmm.
Because I think Audio Bookshelf does that because I've signed into Joe's and mine, and I was able to switch back and forth. So it's not beyond the realm of possibility. It almost seems like an obvious feature they should put in the client.
Yeah, because that would be useful.
Yeah, I guess it's one of those things that they don't expect you to do,
Probably not.
or they just haven't planned for it. I mean, on the desktop in a browser, you're just literally going to a different URL. So, like,
Yeah.
for yours, I go to your URL, and for mine, mine. So it's not like it's still a little weird because you're just literally in a different tab. But yeah, on like Roku, for example, yeah, you gotta I forget what it is. It's like switch server or switch user, and then yeah, you have to choose your server, and then it'll fill in your user. So it's not like that hard, but it's definitely not as seamless as something like Plex. Everyone keeps saying, "Oh, it's definitely Jellyfin's definitely mature enough to use instead of Plex." And every time I go into Plex, I'm like, Plex is like driving the, top of the line vehicle with every accessory, and like, you sit in it and you're like, oh yeah. But then you get into Jellyfin, it's like getting into a, a little like beater rental car, and you're like, yeah, it'll get me there, but damn,
I will
there's no luxury
forgive
in
your
this thing.
tone, sir.
No, but you
Yeah.
see, the thing is, right? Plex is. I had so many issues with Plex, man. Especially when it came to remote access. That that's the
I don't know what to
part of
tell
the
you,
reason
man.
why I went to. I know. I mean, and I was doing it. I was using a proprietary Synology NAS. I was doing everything the pay money way,
Whoa.
not the open source way. And I still
Yeah.
couldn't get it to work, and it was unreliable and things like that. And that's why I just got fed up with it. And I was just like, and then when they started asking for money, then I was like, you can sod off, mate. Do you know what I mean? I'm getting a crap experience, and then I have to pay for it. And I've got no problem paying for stuff. I mean, there's plenty of services unfortunately I pay for, but
I think the truth for me is that I've just been using it for literally, I don't know, 15 years now. I mean, it's got to
Yeah.
be well over a decade. And
So I think
yeah, like,
that's probably why it isn't, because you used to it. For me, I'm starting it off as a new user.
yeah, and I mean, so the library part of it is one thing. I mean, I think everybody after a certain amount of time has just random media files, and that's like one part of what Plex does. But I mean, between Plexamp or between Plex itself having a client everywhere and them actively working on it and making it better all the time, and I know that's a very subjective thing to say, but like Plexamp, which I don't know if you guys have used that or not, but that's like their music player, which is fucking fantastic, and like so you can consume your music in a real way, not in like some bizarre ass, like just weird. Anyway, and
Some
then
weird
yeah,
open
like I
source
love
way.
the fact. Well, I love the fact. So my wife just said this. Like, she bought a DVD of like Third Rock from the Sun, and she's like, "Well, we can just watch it since we own the DVD. We'll just put it in the DVD player." I'm like, "No, no, 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 no." Because whenever you
That's
put
not
it,
how nerds
No,
Because
do
when you
things.
put it-
because that's not because who wants to do it the easy way?
no, no. Well, no, that's not the. Well, okay, that's the easy way if all you want to do is like literally just watch the episodes. But I love that I'm looking at the Devil's Advocate because I happened to watch this not long ago, and like, Plex gives you all of the metadata, every possible thing you could want it to know. A link to the trailer, a link to everybody who stars in it, their profile, if you have other movies with them in it. Like the richness of the UI
Jellyfin
is
does
just
all those things.
unparalleled. Bullshit. No,
Yes,
it doesn't.
absolutely. It will
Then
give
you
you
tell me why your server doesn't look like that.
look like. Well, I don't know. I don't know nothing about Plex, but I know that it gives you metadata. It might not be
Yeah,
quite
I've got
as
metadata
rich.
for everything that I got.
Bill, you've got to substantiate something whenever you say something like that, because
Okay.
I just spent an hour 2 days ago looking through all of the available plugins for Jellyfin, and there was no way that I could see to get it to do half of the stuff that Plex does.
To your
Oh,
statement,
okay.
I give you
Hold on. Now, you were saying that it wouldn't automatically look up the metadata for stuff?
But not in a way that where it's comprehensive and ties back into everything that's in your library, everything that's on your services.
watch
It is
everything
definitely
that,
not as
is-
robust. So if you
No.
have like 2 folders with the
I'm
same
not having your
name-
bullshit either. Watch this.
Yeah. No, it's definitely not as robust. You have to do a lot more file configuration with Jellyfin than you do with Plex. Plex will automatically, if you have 2 copies of a movie, it's going to automatically put them together. Like here, I have 2 folders, I guess, with Secret Invasion, the TV show. And so there are 2 versions of Secret Invasion on my Jellyfin, but there won't be on my Plex. It will put them together.
Well, it won't put them together on my Jellyfin. For those of you that want to see, I'm doing a screen share right now because I'm going to illustrate what we were talking about here. Let's take, for example.
And I'm going into your server right now, so I'm going to try to follow along with you.
Okay, so if you watch, I'm going to the show 1883, and I'm going to scroll down to right now. It's got cast and crew Taylor Sheridan. Well, that's
Really wish you weren't showing your IP.
Yeah, that's probably not a good thing, is it?
F11.
And there's only 2 people watching. It'll be all right.
F11.
Now,
There you go.
let's go to a more prolific show. Twilight New.
I don't even see what you're talking about. You're doing a screen share?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to click on it.
You got to click on.
Oh, I see it.
Watch
I see it.
stream.
Yeah.
I got it.
All right, so right here's your cast and crew, right? I got all the
Mm-hmm.
metadata for the movie right here. I can click on one of the, like Kristen Stewart, and bring up, here's her bio, show more. I can bring down more, and then here's all of the other movies I have on my Jellyfin server that she's in. Snow White and Huntsman, all of the other Twilight movies.
Yeah, I mean, it is pretty decent, actually. I've not done a single bit of anything, and I've just shared some screenshots just from the mobile app. Do you know what I mean? In the
Yeah.
public bit. It does... Is it perfect? No.
Now here,
But it's good enough.
Downton Abbey, for example, also, okay, so I'll go into TV shows. Another cool thing is these will show if a show is, well, it depends on the client, but like the Fire Stick client and the, what is it, NVIDIA Shield client, right about here, it'll have a thing saying whether or not the show is still airing or whether it's over with. And here's all of the seasons. And then again, here's all of the cast and crew. And I can go back, click on Maggie Smith, and and there's links here you can go to for more information on IMDb, the movie database, TV database, and then here's the other movies on my server that she's in, the Marigold Hotels, and all the movies, and then the TV shows. So
All right, let me start. I want to watch. All right, there's one thing in particular. So here's the difference too. The web client, like what you get in the browser, is not bad at all. The one you have on Roku is pretty shit. And I think that's probably half my problem with it is that whenever I'm using it on Roku, it's pretty frustrating because it doesn't perform very well. And then even just dumb stuff like when I go to search for something, it's very, very clunky. And then from the home screen, like you click on an episode and it just wants to play. Like there's no way on the Roku to get to the series whenever you do continue watching. Like you go into the show, it starts playing, and but it doesn't show any of like the rich stuff that you see in the browser. I don't know if you guys if you're using this with a Roku, and maybe it's just because the Roku client sucks so bad that it annoys me. But anyway, do you have a Roku? Do you use Roku or
no? I just use the Fire Stick and then the NVIDIA Shield.
I found apps when I had the Roku. I found the extra apps that you could get were a bit dodgy or a bit just not great. So I mean, the obvious ones like Netflix and Amazon Prime and BBC iPlayer were fine, but at the minute you went slightly off, the beaten track, their apps were crap. That's what I found anyway. And so which is part of the reason why I've got a Roku for my mom, and attach that to her TV. But myself, I use a Fire Stick or Chromecast. So it may be that. I mean, as I said, I've only had this now running since yesterday. So I'm still looking into it, but I've not done any of the metadata stuff at all, and it seems to have found a lot of it already.
I think this is probably, now that I'm looking, because I almost never use the web client because I don't sit in front of my computer and watch movies very often. So I'm either using the Android client or the Roku client, and my opinion is that both of those are not anywhere near as good as Plex. So that's what's coloring my look. Because looking at this, you're right. In the web browsers, comparing it side by side with Plex, it's really pretty comparable. I mean, it's close.
So I'm looking at the Android client on my phone, and
I mean, it's all right.
Pretty similar, actually.
I mean, it's not going to win any awards, but it's fine.
Because I can go to the actors, I can get all the same information, then scroll down, and it's got other movies on my server that they're in.
Mine. Let me switch to yours. Subtitles for me is is non-negotiable, and I know I cannot get it to work. And that's just not your server. No, it's not, because I can't get it to work on mine either.
Well, I don't have subtitles on my files, and I don't have any plugins for automatic subtitles on there either. It hasn't been a priority, so I have.
That's interesting, isn't it? How we've all kind of gone towards subtitles. At first, I thought I was just me, the weirdo that had subtitles, even though I could hear properly.
It's the way they record and mix the movies. Like the audio or the spoken part of it, conversation part of it, is like squished into like the middle channel. And if you don't have something that's specifically like pulling that out, you just can't hear anything. And the other thing is the way actors perform now, because they're mic'd, they don't have to they don't have to speak clearly or project their voice at all. And so there's so much like, it's just like, what the hell did they say?
They have the sound effects so blaringly loud.
Oh yeah, that too. Or music. Music is always why is the music so loud? It's.
I mean, I have to crank up the compression on my TVs if I'm not using a surround.
Do you find though? Because I've started to wonder. Because I agree with you 100% and all the reasons. That's the exact reason why I started putting subtitles on and why I've got used to it and all that sort of stuff. But I do sometimes wonder, am I spending more time just reading subtitles than actually watching? Do you know what I mean? And, is it really more akin to me? because I
you're used to it.
find myself missing things in scenes because all I'm doing is reading the bottom bit. It's less of
My
a problem when
guess
it's on your
is
phone, but I found it
my
more
It's kind of a
on bigger
skill.
screens.
yeah, my
Yeah,
guess
it's
is
kind of a
that you
skill.
just
Like,
read slow.
Hmm?
My guess
look
is
at
you read
this.
slow.
Haha, very funny.
Look at this. This is what my client looks like. What the hell is that? You know, it's just like a blob of like nothing links. Like, I don't know. I'm just saying, like, the client is not very well thought out. It is not very good looking. It does not function very well. And so, sorry.
So
It just is what it is.
Yeah, what I find frustrating with the streaming and outside of Plex and Jellyfin, I don't know, so I've never used those, but we talked a little bit about this TV consumption, or it's more going to streaming. I think Jim had a thing about Roku, the statistics of people consuming content via streaming. And one of the annoying things I find about streaming, like between Netflix and Prime or something, is the audio is like you have to crank it up, depending on, at least on my sound system, to hear, like, and then if you switch between the two, they're never the same. And so one has to go higher, one lower, or it's just, I find that very annoying about that whole process too. But anyway, so.
well, they're using a combination of a lot of different codecs depending on the
Yep.
content, and then they're coding it in 5.1. It's coming across as 5.1, and then your TV is down mixing it to 2.0, and some
Yeah.
just do better than others with mixing that center channel in with the. I always have to crank up the audio compression settings in the TV because it's always the same. You'll crank it up to hear what they're talking about. Then when anything starts happening, it just boom crash, and you wake up
Yeah.
everybody in the house, and they want you to buy a surround sound system, I guess. Which
Listen, I understand that it's unfair, and I know I'm still stuck on the Plex and Jellyfin thing, but I understand it's unfair to have a open source, volunteered, developed product be anything close to something like Plex, which has existed for close to 20 years and has had every benefit of like paid subscriptions and millions of users and like feedback and stuff. So anyway, yes, Jellyfin is perfectly serviceable. It's just when people say it's better than Plex, I'm like, come on. Let's not be, let's not kid ourselves here. It's good. It's workable. Anyway, yes.
I suppose it's
I've had a
fair to
problem-
remember that there's a huge difference between the amount of development that goes into the client and the development that goes into the server side, because
Right.
those clients are. God knows if it's even the same people making each one of these clients, because they're all basically Android, but they've all got slightly tweaked UI depending on the platform that it's made for. Maybe I've just gotten along. Of course, I come from Kodi, where I was just setting up Samba shares and then setting up Kodi, but that got to be tiresome because the thing about Kodi, leaving aside all the obtuse settings of getting it to see all of your data, the thing about Kodi is all of the metadata management is done client side. So every single device that has Kodi on it has to keep its own metadata library database on the device that you've got Kodi installed on. Whereas with Jellyfin, that stuff is all done on server side. So you don't have to have powerful devices plugged in or wait for each one of these devices to search for new content and then download all the metadata.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's the type of thing, Ford versus Chevy in a lot of ways. 'Cause
Yeah.
you have a certain way that you're used to doing things. And I think that the choices so because Plex started out essentially where Jellyfin is now, I mean, probably even rougher than that, to be honest with you. I mean, server identification, like the metadata stuff used to be a real pain in the ass. And like, not only was it a pain in the ass that it would to identify stuff, but then it would just randomly not, like they'd make some kind of change and then it wouldn't work anymore. Like there were some serious growing pains for a long time, but I stuck with it simply because it was really the best option. And now though, I think that as I've seen it grow and change over the years, it's almost like Apple in a way, where they take a technology that exists and the way they bring it into their ecosystem makes sense. And it makes that technology usable in a way where it wasn't before. So all of a sudden it's like, oh, that's a great idea. Even if it wasn't their idea to begin with. And so that's kind of how I feel, like, even with their like live TV thing, which is the same as every other Fubo and, Roku and every other stupid live TV thing, which is all coming from, I assume, the same upstream providers. And they're just wrapping their UI around it or whatever. But
Pluto and
the way that
and Tubi.
Yeah, exactly. I probably mix them up. They're nonsense words anyway. They're just like shaking in a whatever lands on the table. But yeah, it's just when I look at the features of the way Plex presents the data to me, and that age old thing of like staring at a list of too many choices and like how do I pick something to watch. Whenever I look at all of my sources of Hulu and Amazon Prime and Netflix and everything, like I go into Plex and I feel like they do the best job of just putting things that I want to see in front of me.
The biggest advantage with Plex, and this is from somebody that's never even, I mean, I've installed it and looked at it and had a quick play with it, but beyond that, I've never used it as my go-to. But it's out there because it's so much more prolific. You can install it on smart TVs. Whereas Jellyfin, you've got to have something else. You have to have a Roku or a Fire Stick or a Shield or a Google TV or whatever have you. Now, that being said, one of the best plugins for Kodi is the Jellyfin plugin, which basically just turns your Kodi into Jellyfin. And
we've had like opposite experiences because I've never used Kodi.
Well,
or whatever Plex, whatever it was, Xbox,
XBMC.
Yeah. Kodi is, I mean, it's a media player, but also it handles its own metadata and everything. It's a bit of a fuck about to get set up in that,
But wasn't that the one that they were selling, like the USB sticks that you put in, or HDMI sticks or whatever, that we get you free movies and all that stuff?
Because it's got a whole ecosystem of plugins.
It was the Kodi plugins that were the issue. It wasn't like the developers.
There was entire repos of these plugins, like Super Repo, that was basically all they were was streaming torrent file. It was using the BitTorrent protocol to, instead of downloading movies, just streaming them through one of these. It was the exact same concept. It was just, instead of downloading it, you're streaming it, watching it, which is pretty much the same thing. But
yeah.
And Kodi got blamed for that.
I've got to get going. Nice to see you all.
Yep,
I'll see you guys
same
next
here.
week.
But
what's the next show? Is it news? No, last one was news. What are we doing?
I don't know. We can do Wanderings if you want.
No, we did news and wanderings.
Did we do Wanderings?
So I don't know. Yeah.
No, we took them out of the notes.
Oh, okay. So then it's Wanderings next.
Yeah, you did it as a separate show. Yeah.
All right.
That'll work.
So instead of news, I think, isn't it the structures that we're always going to do some kind of small amount of news, and then instead of innards, we have wanderings, and switch back between wanderings and innards?
No, I thought it was changed again. Unless we have an actual innards that we want to do, we're going to do news one show, and the wanderings the other show. And then if there's an actual like innards, that someone really wants to present, then that's what we do.
Okay. I somehow in my head I had it that we would always have
It's been changing.
the news to
we've
check us
bounced
out.
around.
Yeah.
It's
And because that part has always been one piece of it, and then the other chunk of it was either innards or wanderings.
Well, because we've had so much trouble finding, proper innards or something that someone wants to
I
present.
thought we had a list of them.
we do, but I mean, putting together the information on any of the or finding anything on the list.
Okay.
You know,
Well, the next innards I wanted to do was like time savers, like aliases and keyboard shortcuts and stuff like that.
oh well,
If you want to do that next show, we
let's-
can.
That's fantastic. Oh God!
I can put off innards.
Have you used those shortcuts where it's my wife and I do this, where you go, well, that's fantastic, or good for you, and if you use
bless
the
your heart.
the abbreviations, yeah. Well, no, the abbreviations are go fuck yourself and what the fuck.
Yeah.
Like I'll look at her and go, well, that's fantastic, and I'm actually saying, what the fuck? Yeah, little code language.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Thinking about my wife. My wife says "bless your heart" a lot, and I know what
yeah,
she's really saying.
anyone who doesn't understand, that is not a polite phrase.
No, it's not.
No,
Yeah,
it used to be.
I wonder.
Maybe it
I
didn't.
wonder.
Maybe all them women down south just used to say
Yeah.
that.
No, those women down south always were
Condescending.
talking smack.
Well, bless your heart.
You say you're from way up north? Oh, well, bless your heart.
Yeah.
All right, kids. I got to get off of here. I got a headache.
All right.
Sure.
Right. All right.
Everybody have a good weekend. Everybody, thanks for joining us in the stream, all 4 of you. I'm sure one of those was me. So we'll see you, folks.